So I recognize today I hear a lot about Matt Walsh on the internet, but I've never watched one of his videos. So I figured let's watch one of his videos and figure out maybe how he became so popular. This disturbing video proves you should homeschool. This looks good. We'll watch this.
Let's move to this from Postmillennial. An educator at El Dorado High School in Placentia, California, was captured on video giving students explicit instructions during class on how to have pleasure during anal sex and where to find sex toys that will stimulate the prostate gland. The video posted to the Instagram account EDHS Caught Lacking, this is the Instagram account, shows the educator sitting at...
It's Ed High School Caught Lacking. Did he read through the script prior to recording this video? I don't know. EDH Ed High School Caught Lacking.
Top of a desk in front of a classroom full of students discussing why anal sex is pleasurable for gay men. We do have that video, which is like, I feel uncomfortable playing this video because it's so disgusting and it's really quite explicit. But this is what is being talked about in schools. This is being presented to kids at schools. And so we have to face it. And here it is.
Looks like it was posted on
is
Instagram
where the
Reels.
prostate is. So you don't have to go inside the booty hole. You can actually just push on the seam, and that stimulates the prostate gland as well. And that, they apparently really like that. But yeah, so that's why for male and male, anal sex is still very pleasurable because of the fact that it hits the prostate, and there's a lot of nerve endings in your booty as well. So the girls, the G-spot, prostate, they're the equivalent to each other, but apparently that's why...
All right, this is a long video. Is he going to say something after this video?
I mean, Target has them now. Sex toys. If you go to Target, seriously, if you go to Target and go where the tampons and pads are, they just look like a little box, but if you open up, there's like a Velcro front to the box, you open it up, and then bam, sex toy. And you'll see them. CVS, yes, CVS has them too, a lot of them. That's why when you look at the toys, a lot of them look like this.
I can keep saying it and sound like a broken record, but I will say it every time that woman should be in prison. Like that should be a prison sentence.
That woman should be in prison. My brother in Christ, you look like you should be working as a low-grade bicycle mechanic in Bend, Oregon, with your flannel shirt and beard. Like I can picture him. He's too poor to even move to Portland. He's saving up money. Yeah, guys, I know I'm in Bend, Oregon right now, but 6 months, got on my calendar, I'm moving to Portland. I'm gonna become a youth pastor at a strip mall, church, but I'm gonna do big things. I got this idea, it's called Bible study and bike rides. And of course, not many cool bikes, to me like the Schwinn bikes. Nothing related to nothing, but what's with the beard? Who wears a beard? I think the last respectable Western figure to wear a beard was Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago. George Washington didn't wear a beard. Thomas Jefferson didn't wear a beard. John Adams, Napoleon, Wellington, Teddy Roosevelt, he had a mustache. F. Scott Fitzgerald, Hemingway, Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, all these people that presumably Matt Walsh looks up to, none of these people have a beard. A beard's for liberals, for progressives, for radicals. Karl Marx had a beard. Freud had a beard. Beards are Paris Commune 1832, in the poetic words of a modern-day Philip Larkin.
Somebody grab him some clippers. His fucking beard is weird.
Honestly, with the extreme sexually repressive views and the big bushy beard, Matt Walsh looks more like the Taliban than a William F. Buckley. Although Matt Walsh may be too stupid to know who William F. Buckley is.
Now listen, you
right of assembly
stop calling me a crypto Nazi.
Let's stop calling
I'll
names
you in
and
your
let's get...
goddamn face, and you'll stay plastered.
But end of the beard rant. Let's keep watching the video. Maybe he has some other enlightening points to make.
Prison, like that should be a prison sentence, and that's what I want to start hearing. You know, that's the next step, the next phase, or it should be for Republicans. You know, there's been a real effort to ban this kind of discussion from classrooms, which is good. But next, we need to start saying that.
Why is it good? He says which is good, but it's a declaratory statement. He didn't explain why it's good. It's good because the conversation makes him feel uncomfortable. Under Matt Walsh's ideology, new rules. We're bringing back hemlock. line up the teachers. For the crime of corrupting the youth, this high school teacher shall be forced to drink hemlock or go to prison.
The teachers who engage in this behavior are sexual predators.
What? They're sexual predators? So not the content of what they're saying is not only wrong and should be criminal, they should be locked up. In fact, the reason why these teachers are discussing sexual education to these bored high school students is that these teachers are actually sexual predators. Hemlock, bring the hemlock.
Because that's what that is. Like, let's just call it what it is. This is not simply an inappropriate conversation for the school system, which it is. This is you are preying sexually on kids.
Okay, we'll take the conversation outside the school classroom. If a parent had that conversation with their children, who were, let's say, 15, 16, 17 in this video, they look pretty old. They were explaining how the prostate works to their child. Does that make the parent a sexual predator? By Matt Walsh's logic in this video, apparently any parent who discusses homosexual education in the prostate are sexual predators.
On kids. And you need to go to jail for that. Takes a special kind of company to...
Send them to jail. Now time for an ad break. I love it. I love it. Extreme hot takes, and then an ad break. I can see why he's so popular.
Want to partner with my show. I say a lot of things that make a lot of people angry, and this tends to scare off advertisers. That's just part of the bargain. That's why I'm so grateful for partners like Pure Talk.
That's part of the bargain, which is why I don't... Actually, I do have advertisers. I want to bring that one up now. Pure Talk. So you can support companies that support me, and I support those companies, and we're all a big part of a capitalist happy family. Who cares about that? Let's keep watching that video. I'm going to fast forward through this ad. Pure Talk. It's half the video.
We will know that some semblance of sanity has been restored to this country when we see a video like that, but instead of just cutting off, it ends with police officers walking into that room, putting that disgusting predator in handcuffs.
Dang, he wants to arrest that woman instantly. He's legit convinced that woman is a sexual predator. She's using the mask of sexual education to high school students to actually prey on their innocence and corrupt them and maybe slide into their Snapchat DMs later on.
Putting that disgusting predator in handcuffs and carting her out of the room and then throwing her into a jail cell.
So what is, I'm picturing the scene, these students are sitting here, they're listening to this teacher with an iPad nervously talk about sex education. They're like zoning out, thinking about playing tennis later, maybe going for skiing if they're in Minnesota. And then, boom, the door opens, the police bust in. Get on the ground, teacher. You're a sexual predator. You have been discussing sex education. They handcuff her, whack her in their head if they're mean, and they just cart out the teacher without saying a word. Like, I imagine that would be far more traumatizing to these students than whatever mumbo-jumbo sexual gibberish this teacher is reading off her iPad from that the students aren't even paying attention. Like these students...
If you go to Target, seriously, if you go to Target and go where the tampons and pads are, they have...
Oh yeah, the students say, yeah, you're right, yeah, the teacher's right, you're right, I have seen that in Target. Yeah, because all these students know what sex is. Half the students have had sex. Is Matt Walsh that naive? Like, where did Matt Walsh grow up? Matt Walsh, born, grow up. Let me look this up. Where did Matt Walsh grow up? Grew up in New Jersey? Okay, so he grew up in New Jersey. Well, I grew up in a small rural town in the Midwest. And I can't speak for Matt Walsh's experience. Perhaps he had a very unhappy high school experience. He was unable to make very many friends, and he's Catholic, so presumably he was a virgin throughout high school. But the small, rural Midwest town that I grew up in, most people had sex in high school. The gay guys that I knew in high school, even if they weren't out, they were out to people they could trust. And those gay guys, the way they were finding out about their sexuality and having sex is they were meeting older gay men online and meeting up with them. Like, the real world, 17-year-old gay guys, 17-year-old women, straight guys, they know how sex works. Most of them are doing it.
That's when we know that sanity. That when we see that, that's going to be our sign that sanity has really made a comeback. You know, we're making some progress. I think sanity's trying to make a comeback, but that's how we know it will have that the comeback has started, I suppose. You know, the other interesting thing about that video is you listen to the class. Like, they're not even paying attention.
That was my point. They looked bored in the video. They didn't look that stunned, that scared, that frightened of what they were hearing. They looked bored. They just admitted that. They're bored.
Nor should they be. This is a useless, on top of being disgusting and wrong and predatory to be talking about this in the classroom, it's also completely useless and pointless on top of all that. It's got nothing to do with any kind of academic subject that they need to be learning about. And the kids they're not even paying attention. They're bored by it.
Okay, well, they're bored by it and they're not really paying attention. What's the danger? If it's not really having an effect because they're not paying attention, there's no need to homeschool the children. It should be called, "This boring video proves that high school students still already know about sex education by the time teachers tell them about it because they've already had sex." That's the truthful video.
What does that tell you? You know, I think at least when I went to school, and even when so-called comprehensive sex ed, and this is a concept that really originates, as we talked about, What is a Woman, with Alfred Kinsey, degenerate pedophile, and it really starts with him, and he's someone who very much wanted to sexualize children. And so as long as there has been comprehensive sex education in the schools, and there has been for decades, there has been an effort in the schools to sexualize children, because that's what comprehensive sex ed is all about. And we had comprehensive sex ed when I was a kid in school, so there were plenty of inappropriate conversations going on. Nothing to that extent. And I think back to when I was in high school. If we had a teacher sitting up there talking about that, we would be shocked.
Bro, when did you go to high school? The 1940s? That would shock you in your high school, what the teacher said? That teacher said would not shock me when I was in high school. And I grew up in a town of 15,000 people in the Midwest. Like, we're talking small and rural, not New Jersey. We're talking Midwest. Midwest values. What that lady said would not shock any of the students I went to school with. Wouldn't shock me. The person I was sitting next to was gay and just having sex with a guy that was 20 years older than him. And the girls had sex, that guy's had sex. Like, I'm picturing my classroom. Everybody knew what was up. I guess Matt Walsh was very sheltered in high school. He went to high school on a lighthouse, apparently. A lighthouse where all they taught him were the Bible and the catechism.
There'd be a lot of like nervous laughter, and people would be shocked, and that would be probably stunned silence, I think, also. But these kids are bored. They're just like carrying on other side conversations. And I think what that tells us is that they're so used to hearing this kind of stuff from their teachers.
No, not from the teachers. They're so used to hearing this stuff from society, from reality, from their friends, from TV, from the internet, from culture.
That it's not even surprising to them. They're not even laughing at how awkward and inappropriate this is.
Okay, that was a Matt Walsh video. Now let's discuss why he's so popular, how he became so popular. We'll do what Hassan Wasabi does, the Turk who hasn't worked a real job. The Turk who hasn't worked. I kind of like that. It has a good ring. Partly because it's true. And stop. If Hassan, you're watching this, Merhaba, Narcissan, Missin, Evet? Evet. I spent some time in Turkey. I gotta make fun of him. The Turk who doesn't work. Kind of a Nepo baby. I probably shouldn't be alienating the audience that might agree with me in this video, but this is what YouTube political discourse is. On the left, we have a Nepo baby, and on the right, a bicycle mechanic. There's not a lot of quality figures that have complex discussion. The reason why Matt Walsh is popular from this video, I'm taking a small sample size, is he picks issues where he can lean on the fringes of the Overton window that are just acceptable enough for him to get an audience, but also hardline enough that it's something for people to rally around. He's deliberately allowed himself to be audience captured, which can be an effective way to get an audience and make money, but it's a bit of a Faustian bargain. Matt Walsh is a modern day indentured servant. He's servile to an ideology. He signed up. He says, I'm going to promote this ideology for 8 years, but I know this audience is going to agree with me, and it's going to be just extreme enough where I can bubble up to the surface and catch people's attention and drive eyeballs and attention. But not too fringe that I'm pushed to the Alex Jones. No, I can still get a gig at the Daily Wire and be provocative. He's deliberately allowed an audience to capture him, which can be seductive. If you know there's an appetite for a type of content, you can lean into it and make some money. You can feed that appetite the content that they already want to hear. People can project their beliefs as an avatar through you. And that's what he's doing, at least from that video. He's taking extreme stances. They're just on the fringe of acceptable. This teacher is a sexual predator. These people that are talking about sex education should go to prison. This is terrible. This is against the Christian values. Nothing that sophisticated. We're not watching Bertrand Russell here. But I get why it appeals to a certain group of people. Anyway, thanks for watching. Where's my hemlock?